Hi, this is Trevor, and it is Wednesday, March the 12th, 2014. And today, I thought I would respond to a question that a client sent me by email. And sometimes there's questions that I'm asked frequently, or they really just sum up a particular situation. So, with that person's kind permission, I am kind of relaying part of the question. This kind person wrote and said, I wonder how your thoughts, beliefs, and experiences as an intuitive psychic have angled your opinion on destiny. Do you believe in one destiny for us all individually, no matter which way you turn, what move you make in life, what the universe has placed for you at a particular time? And then the person went on to talk about something that had been discussed in a reading in terms of a relationship, and said that this seems to have been coming about, but at the same time they had been talking about the possibilities and talking about the reading, and wondered if that had in some ways interfered with the relationship. Well, first of all, to the issue of destiny, I do certainly believe that there are some choices we've made on a soul level, perhaps before we've even come into this world, about the lessons and the experiences we need to learn. And some of that seems to influence patterns, both consciously and unconsciously, and some things beyond our control. Interesting little point. I'm reading this today and responding to this from my home, and it's in an apartment that is in a block that I used to visit when I lived in another block years ago. Actually, it's just down the hall from the place where I used to go to pay my rent. And I made some decisions and changes in my life a few years ago where I had moved to another location from a previous apartment, and it was at that previous apartment that I came here to pay rent. Well, the night before I moved into this apartment, the place I had lived in two back, where I had been coming to this location to pay my rent, that place two back had a fire. And I think I would have ended up moving, and I think I would have ended up in this place whether I had made that middle move or not. And, there's people we feel we're just meant to know, and situations where we get very, very strong impressions like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to be seeing something. So I certainly do believe that destiny is part of what we have to work with. But at the same time, there's this thing called free will. And free will is where we make choices and decisions. It's like we've signed up for the class, and that's destiny. Or we find ourselves in detention, and that sometimes is destiny. But how we work with it is something that we get a chance to move through in many, many different ways. Our lives are not entirely up to fate. There's certain things like the weather that we can't control. But how we work with that involves accountability. If it were all just a matter of luck, there'd be no responsibility or work to be done. But on to this person's question about a relationship that was talked about in a reading. And sometimes, we have strong issues that we're working through, strong things that we're looking at, and we want to know about an outcome. But we can't always just skip to the end of the chapter to read how things turn out. A reading will talk about the possibilities that are going to occur and the things that we can be working with to bring that about. Sometimes we have to be very careful that we're not focusing so much on that end result that we're losing sight of what we could be learning or working with in the meanwhile. So being more specific to what may be part of what's going on in this person's situation, where they've had a reading and it's described somebody who could be a potential partner. And certainly there's a lot of enthusiasm that can go with that. But I would caution about focusing so much on the end result that we're missing the beauty of what could be there in the here and now. Maybe this is somebody who could turn out to be a potential partner. But who wants to be measured for a tuxedo on the first date? I'm not saying that's what's happening here. But sometimes when we're so focused on what we may get or what we may receive or what may happen, we're losing sight sometimes of what's going on in the here and now. So what I would suggest is, the reading is meant to be sort of like a reference point, but not the absolute. It's meant to sort of say, okay, you are here, and here's the probable outcomes that you could be moving towards. But stop, relax, and enjoy the view. allow yourself to kind of see the possibilities that are present in this situation. If you found yourself attracted to and attracting a person that seems to have some really good qualities in your life, I like to say that sometimes, God never made just one of a species. It's like you're finding something that works for you and enjoy it in that person. They may be the main event or they may be the dress rehearsal, not just for something you are going to get, not just for something that's going to come, but something that has been present within yourself that has been waiting to wake up and be discovered. And I think that's the real stuff that I try to work with towards a reading. So I hope that that's helpful. I hope that it sheds some light on some things. There's certainly, great masters and writers and authors that have written far more about destiny. And I think in terms of our faith paths, there's certainly a hand of something greater. I like to remember, that if there is such a thing as a creator, a great creative force, that isn't finished. I like to say the maker's hand is still upon the clay. And I think in that, there's hope for us all.